So, what is TED? It seems to be kind of a silly question to ask a room full of people who've clearly dedicated their Sunday to a TED-inspired event in Seattle. But it's a question, working at TED, I get a lot, and one that I think right now is pretty pertinent. When people ask me, I usually take a deep breath and I try to cram as much information in the sentence as possible. And I say, TED's a nonprofit, stands for Technology, Entertainment, Design. We have 2 conferences a year, one in California, one in the UK. All the talks are edited, put online for free to the world in 70 languages, and I run a fellowship program that brings entrepreneurs from around the world to the conference for free. People kind of look at me and they say, they may get that we're a conference, they may get technology, they may get entertainment, design if we're lucky, and usually they miss that I work on the fellowship program at TED. So this explanation really doesn't get to what we're doing here at TED. We are a conference. We started in 1984 in Monterey, California, and we still have 2 conferences a year. We have one in Long Beach, California, and we have TED Global in Oxford, England. But in 2002, when Chris Anderson took over, things began to change. In 2006, we released TEDTalks via podcast, and in 2007, we launched TED.com, allowing people around the world to watch TED Talks for free. And so we come to an interesting situation. To date, we have 785 talks online, and they've been viewed over 300 million times. So we find ourselves asking, with hundreds of millions of people viewing our content outside of the conference, does it still make sense to describe it as a conference? And so it becomes a platform for spreading ideas. But how did this transition happen? How do we transition from a conference to a platform? And to quote TED media producer June Cohen, the idea lies in radical openness. The idea of opening our content and our brand to the world, creating a community around it. The first component of radical openness that I'd like to speak about is access. So when we launched TED.com in 2007, we launched it with the tagline, riveting talks by remarkable individuals free to the world. But were they really free to the world? TED Talks are recorded in English. They're really only free to the English-speaking world. And so in 2009, we launched the Open Translation Project. Translations, subtitles, and indexable transcripts. So now people all around the world could watch TED Talks in any language. Even if they didn't have bandwidth to watch an entire TED Talk, they could read the transcript on the side of the TED Talk you see here. To date, over 150,000 talks have been translated into 78 languages by the almost 4,000 volunteer translators we have in our TED community. The next component of radical openness is the democratization of ideas, namely the TEDx phenomenon. A year and a half ago, we decided to open up our brand and allow individuals around the world to host their own events. TED can't be everywhere. There's hundreds of potential locations, thousands of potential speakers. And we decided, why not share what we've found as an organization with others? Let them curate their own events and their own community. And as you can see from today, the feedback has been remarkable. We've had over 800 TEDx events held in 95 countries in 42 languages. And in the next few months, we have over 700 planned. And they really range in size and scale, from events like this, or TEDx Berlin, with professional production qualities and hundreds of attendees, to events like TEDx Volcano, organized in less than 24 hours by a bunch of people stranded in London because of the volcano after the Skull World Forum. And there you see TED media producer June Cohen was hosting the session. To unique events like TEDx Kibera, which is organized in one of Nairobi's largest slums by an Acumen Fellow, and here you see Tony Ndugu speaking on the left. So the last component of radical openness that I'd like to touch upon is community engagement, and both the TED Prize and TED Fellows program speak to that. Each year, the TED Prize is awarded to one individual who's given $100,000 and the opportunity to make one wish to change the world. We then rally the TED community behind this wish to turn it from a wish into reality. This past year, the prize was given to celebrity chef Jamie Oliver in his fight against the obesity epidemic in the US. So to spend a second on the TED Fellows program, that's my personal favorite, being on the Fellows team at TED. The TED Fellows program the idea behind the program really is to help young innovators spread their world-changing ideas. So for each conference, we select 20 individuals from around the world and bring them into the program including all expenses paid to the conference, a skill-building pre-conference, as well as mentorship throughout the year. So we're really looking, or what separates the TED Fellows program from other fellowship programs is its diversity, both geographic and discipline diversity. We're looking for a group of polymaths, individuals who find themselves straddling disciplines. We have scientists that write sci-fi books, or retired physicists that are now documentarians. And we're really looking for people who've experienced some success thus far, but have the potential to do that much more. So they kind of occupy this unusual space within their discipline. Since the program launched 2 years ago, we've brought 210 fellows from 38 countries to 5 different TED conferences. And the collaborations that have come out of the program have been extraordinary. You have fellows collaborating with fellows, fellows collaborating with TEDsters, and fellows collaborating with the larger TED community. Just to give one example, this is Ushahidi. It is an open source platform that allows users to crowdsource crisis information via mobile technology. Ushahidi was founded by TED Fellows Eric Hirschman and Juliana Rotich, who met TED speaker Oreo Kulla at TED Global in 2007 in Arusha, Tanzania. They founded the organization after the post-election violence in Kenya. Fast forward 2 years, and they meet Jonathan Gosier. Together, they've just launched Swift River, which is another open source application that allows users to manage real-time data feeds. So essentially to filter and verify news as it comes in, weeding out all of the noise. And then just a few months ago, TED fellow Faisal Chauhan used the Ushahidi platform to launch packreport.org, allowing individuals around Pakistan to SMS in reports of the flood in order to direct relief efforts to the areas that need it most. And so both the TED Fellows Program and the TED Prize essentially are trying to elevate individuals and their projects in the hope that the larger TED community will really engage and rally behind them. So as you can see, this notion of radical openness, this kind of opening our brand and our content to the rest of the world really has transformed TED from a conference that I guess was easy to explain to now TED is a platform for spreading ideas that is a little bit harder to explain. This kind of notion of increasing access, increasing participation, and increasing engagement has really transformed TED from something that we, a small nonprofit in New York City, is doing to something that the much larger kind of international community is doing. So thank you.